Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie on Thursday said former President Trump can't avoid the Republican presidential debates as he runs for the White House in 2024. Trump says he doesn't think it's fair for him to have to debate. Crybabies and losers say life isn't fair, and Trump is both. Wants to be president, then get in the ring, pal, Christie wrote on Twitter. Trump has previously suggested that because he's polling as GOP frontrunner, he doesn't need to engage in the primary debates. When you're way up, you don't do debates. If you're even or down, you do debates. But when you're way up, what's the purpose of doing the debate? Trump said in April. Earlier this week, he said he still has not made a final decision on whether to participate in the first Republican presidential primary debate later this summer. However, he's reportedly said he is willing to debate President Biden, who is running for re-election. Christie on Thursday shared a video of himself on Fox and Friends saying Trump shouldn't think he should just default to the nomination in the Republican primary race. It's not fair. Poor Donald Trump, the guy who wants to, because the United States, the guy who says that he's the toughest person to lead this country, doesn't want to get up in front of the Republican primary voters and defend his record and make a case for the future of America. Christie said in the interview, every Republican primary voter should have the opportunity to see all those people qualified up on the stage debating with each other. He can't avoid this. It's not fair to the Republican Party voters. In fact, I think it's disrespectful, he said. So I agree with Christie, although my impetus would be to speak about it a little bit differently, because I've said before, when you look at the Democratic primary, I'm just using this as an example, the current rationale by people who are trying to make sure that Biden doesn't debate RFK Jr. or Williamson is because, oh, he's an incumbent president, and incumbent presidents don't debate primary challenges. Oh, look at Jimmy Carter and Ted Kennedy. That's the example they like to throw out there. But Trump is not an incumbent president. He's running in the primary just as plenty of other people are running. And his excuse of, oh, well, I'm polling ahead of all these other people, so why should I debate them? Well, you look at the 2020 Democratic primary, and I'd say for a majority of that race, and you can go look at the polling, the people who were polling the best were Sanders, Biden, and again, like at various points, others fluctuated like Warren and Harris. But imagine how people would have reacted if Biden came out and said, hey, I'm polling at 20%. This person's at 2%. I don't need to debate them. Of course, I'm not saying that the polling was similar in terms of being so much higher. But the point I'm making is, as non-incumbent presidential hopefuls, to say, hey, I don't have to debate the people I'm running against. Look at how high I am on them. It just speaks of cowardice, and it's all part of that same fake strongman nonsense. Again, if I'm someone who believes I'm this great, amazing candidate and I've got a 40% lead, 30% lead, 20% lead, I'll debate the other person because, again, I believe in my message. I think I'm going to wipe the floor with them. And, my 20% might go to 25. My 40% might go to 45. But if I'm too scared to speak to people, and I do believe that Trump is worried about like possibly being ganged up on, or even though I still don't think the debates might, I don't know if they entirely could change things because a lot of Republican voters are mesmerized by him. But I think a part of him is worried about someone like DeSantis or Haley or one of these other people kind of going in on him and him not being able to respond in an effective way, or a way that's seen as effective by his by people who might be firmly interested in him but kind of on the fence about others, so he might siphon off some votes from him. Really, it's just kind of sad, because what Republican voters should do, if they had any self-respect, would be to say, listen, we love our last president. We think he did such an amazing job with whatever way they can spin it for themselves. Lowest black unemployment, some random statistic or thing they'll claim. They should say, we like him. We wouldn't mind having him for another 4 years, but he has to earn the vote like he did the last 2 times. And as someone who's not currently holding the office but is running against multiple other people who'd like a shot at the office, he should explain to us and articulate to us why he is better than these people, and do it in the medium that has become the bread and butter of presidential primaries for the last 30, 40 years. I mean, and look, I get Trump's campaign is unorthodox. He's the first former president to run for president in over 70 years since Herbert Hoover. The first ex-president to be indicted. So I get, like, you could say, oh, there's all this historical just stuff that's never happened before, but the idea that you think because you're polling very high that you don't owe the voters the chance to actually see you talk to the other contenders, candidates, I think is nuts. And I just wish Republican voters had more of a, I guess, a less cultish mentality where they could just come out and go, you know what, we like him, but we're gonna have our debates. And if he won't have these debates, I'm not voting for him, or I'm not going to support him. If his numbers drop from 40 to 20, and people cited the reason as, I want to see my candidate actually, you know, destroy these other people in the conversation, he would do it. He would back out because he would be less confident. But people, they reward stupidity, unfortunately, and that him choosing to stay out of this is dumb, and it's an easy way for his opponents to claim him as a coward. So maybe him not being there will affect it. Maybe he'll change his mind about not going. I know he says he's undecided, but it's just another one of those, like, weird things, you know? Like, you run for president, what do? You fundraise, you campaign in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, all the early primary states, and then every couple of weeks, starting in August, September, or the middle point of the year before the election, you debate the people that are also running for the same nomination. It's like, this is just 101 of presidential politics, and it's so sad that he can, like, buck this trend, and his own devout followers don't even have a little modicum of respect to say, hey, look, do what everybody else does, at least on this one particular thing. It's a tradition. You can't be hurt by it unless you are not as good of a candidate as you think you are. So just go up there and try to, articulate your message. But they won't do it.